There are many more elements to the puzzle. Your health, your friends, your family, we can go on that forever. But money is a very clear window that if you see how somebody engages with money. My own personal desire to show off materially happened when I was in my late teens, early 20s. And looking back, I didn't know this then, but the reason why is because I had nothing else to offer the world. In your 20s, people worry about what other people think of them. In your 30s, you say, I don't care what anybody thinks of me. And in your 40s, you finally realize the truth, which was nobody was thinking about you the whole time.
Elon Musk will either be a trillionaire or bankrupt. And at this point, it's much closer to trillionaire at this point. There is a version of you right now that is not going to be rescued by more money. I know that sounds like the opposite of what a video about money should open with. But stay with me, because this is the single most important thing I have ever figured out about wealth, and almost nobody talks about, honestly. Here is the claim. The amount of money in your bank account is not the thing standing between you and a good life. Your relationship with money is. And those are two completely different problems. Wearing the same costume. I have watched people cross the exact finish line they swore would fix everything. 100,000 in the bank, then 500,000. Then a number so large I won't even say it out loud because it sounds fake. And I have watched the look on their faces when they get there. And it is not relief, it's confusion. Because they did the thing, they hit the number, and they still feel like something is missing. That confusion is where this video lives, not in spreadsheets, not in stock picks, in the space between what you think money will do for you and what it actually does. Let's get into it. Think about what it actually means to be a better father, or a better friend, or a calmer, more patient version of yourself. Those goals are real. They matter more than almost anything, but they're foggy. You can't put a number on, I want to be more present with my kids this year. There's no leaderboard for it. No app tracks it. You can't screenshot your progress and compare it to a stranger's. Now think about money, $20 an hour. You want 25. That's it. That's the whole goal. And you know exactly when you've hit it, down to the cent. That clarity feels like a gift, but it's actually a trap because your brain will always default to the goal it can measure over the goal that actually matters. Ask most people what a good life looks like. And if they don't have a clear picture of what that actually means, they'll default to a life where I have more money. Not because money is what they truly want, because it's the only variable simple enough to chase. And once you're chasing a number, the number never stops moving. I've seen this pattern so many times it stops surprising me. Someone decides that $1 million in net worth will be the finish line. They get there and the feeling doesn't show up. So the new finish line becomes 2 million. They get there, still nothing. So it becomes 10. This isn't a story about greedy people. It's a story about anyone who outsources their sense of enough to a number instead of deciding what enough actually feels like. I want you to sit with something because I think it's one of the strangest and most encouraging facts about money, and almost nobody frames it this way. Take medicine. If you didn't finish high school, you are never, not in 100 years, going to outperform a Harvard-trained surgeon in an operating room. That's not a possibility. The gap in training, knowledge, and technical skill is simply too large to overcome without the credentials. Money doesn't work that, not even close. You can take someone with no financial education, no family wealth, no connections, working a job that nobody would call impressive, and if they have a small handful of behavioral traits, patience, a low ego, the ability to leave a decision alone once they've made it, they will, over a long enough timeline, build more real wealth than someone with an MBA from a top school working at a hedge fund. And the reverse is just as true, maybe more damning. You can hand someone every advantage, the elite degree, the insider connections, the six-figure salary straight out of school. And if their ego is bigger than their patience, if they need to prove something every time they make a financial decision, they will blow it up. Not eventually, often quickly. I've seen high earners living paycheck to paycheck because their lifestyle grew exactly as fast as their income did, which means, functionally, they never got a raise at all. This is the part that should genuinely change how you think about your own situation. If you feel like you started behind, wrong zip code, wrong family, wrong first job, money is one of the only games where that doesn't disqualify you. It's not a knowledge test. It's a behavior test. And behavior is available to everyone, starting today, for free. There's a second layer to this that most people miss, which is that intelligence can actually work against you in this specific arena. A very sharp mind is great at spotting patterns, and it's great at building a convincing story for why this time is different. That's a useful skill in most fields. In investing, it's often a liability because markets don't reward the most convincing story. They reward the person who did something boring and stuck with it. I've watched genuinely brilliant people talk themselves into complicated, clever positions because their intelligence needed somewhere to go. And simple, unglamorous, put money in every month and ignore the noise felt beneath them. Meanwhile, someone with no interest in feeling clever just kept doing the boring thing for 20 years and quietly ended up ahead. The market doesn't know your IQ, and it doesn't care. It only responds to what you actually did with your money and for how long you left it alone. Here's an experiment worth running on yourself. Picture the version of financial success that you daydream about. Maybe it's a bigger house. Maybe it's a trip somewhere warm with your family, no return date circled on the calendar, sits in that image for a second. Feel what comes up. You probably labeled that feeling happiness. I want to challenge that label because I don't think it's accurate. I think what you're actually picturing is contentment, a very specific, very different feeling. Contentment is the sensation of looking around and thinking, this is enough. I don't need anything more than this moment right here. And that distinction matters enormously because here's what actually happens when people arrive at the dream. They get to the beach, and instead of contentment, their brain starts scanning for the next gap. The room could have had a better view. The resort down the road looked nicer online. Someone else's flight was in first class, and theirs wasn't. The very same brain that built the fantasy is now in real time dismantling the reality. Because it was never built to sit still in enough. It was built to notice what's missing. This is why upgrading your life rarely delivers what you expect it to. Not because nicer things are bad, but because the satisfaction you're chasing was never really about the thing. It was about finally getting to switch your brain off and stop comparing. And your brain doesn't switch off just because the house got bigger. It just finds a new, more expensive thing to compare against. If you don't understand this one idea, you can double your income 3 separate times in your life and still feel exactly as broke, relatively speaking, as the day you started. Because the target was never a number, it was a feeling, and you were chasing it with the wrong tool. There's a phase almost everyone goes through, usually young, where you start to believe that the right possessions will change how people see you. A nicer car, a bigger house in a better zip code, clothed with the right label, facing out. And underneath all of it is a quiet, unspoken bet. If I have this, people will finally give me the respect I feel like I deserve. I want to gently take that bet away from you because I promise you, you will lose it every time. There's a classic piece of social psychology research where a researcher put on a genuinely embarrassing item of clothing, something that would make most people cringe, and walked into a room full of strangers. Afterward, she was asked how many people she thought noticed. Her guess was that nearly everyone had clocked it. It felt to her like the whole room had been staring. When the actual attendees were asked separately whether they'd noticed anything at all, almost none of them had. They weren't paying attention to her wardrobe. They were busy thinking about their own. That is, without exception, the most underrated fact in all of personal finance. Nobody is scrutinizing your car in the parking lot the way you imagine they are. Nobody is doing mental math on your house square footage. People are simply too consumed with their own insecurities, their own bad hair day, their own looming deadline to spend real energy auditing your lifestyle. The admiration you're financing with debt and stress is, for the most part, imaginary. You are performing for an audience that left the theater a long time ago. I think about this from a memory of mine. Years back, watching expensive cars pull up outside a nice building, every single time one rolled in, I'd stop and stare, genuinely impressed. But here's the honest part. I never once thought about who was driving. Not their name, not their job, not their life. I thought about the car. And in my head, the fantasy wasn't, I want to meet that person. It was, if that were me behind the wheel, people would finally look at me the way I'm looking at this car right now. Except I had just proven in real time that the fantasy was broken. I wasn't admiring a person. I was admiring an object. Nobody in that scenario was thinking about the driver at all. which means the driver's whole bet, spending real money to be noticed, wasn't even landing once that clicked. It changes the entire purpose of money. It stops being a tool for a performance nobody's watching, and it becomes a tool for something private, your own peace, your own family's stability, your own ability to sleep at night. That's a much smaller audience. But it's the only audience that was ever actually paying attention. Most people are taught to think of saving money as a form of delayed gratification. Sacrifice now, comfort later, a distant future self who will thank you. I don't think that's the most useful way to see it. And honestly, I don't think it's even the most accurate one. When I put money aside, I'm not primarily doing it for the version of me 30 years from now, even though that person absolutely benefits. I'm doing it because of what it hands me immediately. Every dollar saved is a small, quiet transfer of control from your circumstances back into your own hands. It's not a future reward, it's a present one. The moment the money is set aside, you already own something valuable, options. Here's what I mean practically. A person with 3 months of expenses saved can leave a toxic job without panicking. A person with none has to stay no matter how badly it's damaging them, because the alternative is worse. A person with some savings can say no to unreasonable demands from a boss, a client, even a relative, because no doesn't threaten their ability to eat next month. A person with nothing saved has fewer real choices in life than their talent or their character deserves, purely because their finances have quietly taken the steering wheel away from them. That is the actual product that saving buys, not a beach in 30 years. Independence delivered today, that compounds into more independence tomorrow. And once you frame it that way, saving stops feeling like punishment. It starts feeling like the only purchase that keeps paying you back in a currency more valuable than money, freedom over your own time and your own decisions. I think this is also why so much financial advice fails to actually change anyone's behavior. It talks about saving as if the payoff is retirement, some fog-covered date decades away that your brain has no real ability to feel anything about. Nobody skips a want tonight for the benefit of a stranger who happens to share their name in 30 years. But people will absolutely skip it for a version of freedom they can feel next month. So when you save, don't picture a rocking chair on a porch somewhere far off. Picture the specific decision that becomes available to you 3, 6, 12 months from now because the money is there. That's not a distant abstraction. That's a door that opens sooner than you think. And it's a far more honest reason to keep the habit going than a retirement projection nobody actually believes in their gut. There's also a version of this worth naming directly because it applies to a huge number of people watching this. If your income depends on a single employer, a single client, or a single platform, your savings aren't just a cushion, they're the only real leverage you have in that relationship. The person with no savings has to accept whatever terms are handed to them because they have no ability to walk. The person with even a modest reserve gets to where no is a real option, not a bluff. That shift quietly changes almost every interaction you have around money, work, and time, long before you ever touch the savings itself. Just having it there changes how people who depend on your compliance treat you. There's a specific kind of empathy that almost nobody talks about in financial terms, and I think it might be the most important one. It's empathy for a person who doesn't exist yet. The version of you 30 days from now or 30 years from now who has to live with whatever decision you're about to make tonight. Most people are reasonably kind to the people around them. They'd help a friend in a tight spot. They'd cover a coworker's shift. But they'll happily hand their future self a problem they'd never dream of handing to somebody they actually care about. Because that future self is invisible right now, and invisible people are easy to neglect. The credit card balance you're not thinking about tonight becomes a very real, very stressed out person's problem in about 3 weeks. The retirement contribution you skipped this year becomes a much older version of you,